The Bible says, awake to righteousness, and sin not, for some have not the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame. So a little bit of a background here is you have the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul is writing in 1 Corinthians, his first letter to Corinthians. It's a very carnal church. We actually have to be kind of happy that they're a very carnal church, because if it wasn't for 1 and 2 Corinthians having all these problems, all right, we really wouldn't know how to run a church. All right, I mean, thankfully there was a church that had issues, and we're reaping the benefits of it. All right, as odd as that sounds. All right, but anyway, so 1 Corinthians, Paul is dealing with another issue here, because almost the whole book is him dealing with issues. But anyway, he's dealing with an issue here. What he's telling them is he's laying the groundwork for the resurrection. All right, so there's a lot of doubt, there's a lot of talk amongst the Corinthians at this time about the resurrection. It did not happen. It was a fake thing, so forth and so on. And the Apostle Paul was like, if the resurrection did not happen, there's no hope. If the resurrection did not happen, you can do whatever you want. If the resurrection did not happen, you can eat and drink whatever you want. If the resurrection did not happen, you do not have to live moral lives. You can live however you want, any way that you want, doing whatever it is that you want. Because this entire life is meaningless then. There's no purpose to this life if the resurrection did not happen. But then the Apostle Paul lays the foundation work, lays the work, tells the people, plays out the case of the resurrection did happen. One, we can even look back. There's tons of historical evidence about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that it did happen. All right? You know what's one of the most fun things about Christianity is over in Hebrews chapter 11. Is that the faith chapter? Yes. Is it 11? Okay. In the first chapter, verses 1 and 2, it talks to us about what faith is. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. All the other religions out there want you to have a blind faith. Not Christianity. Christianity says look at the evidence and put your faith in the evidence. Put your faith in the God, because there's evidence that points to God. Yeah. So through this evidence, you can have faith in the God. All right. None of the other religions have that. All right. What's funny is the first century Christians, they actually went around finding the actual burial sites to all of who the Greek gods were modeled after. All right. They were all modeled after real people that died. So they actually spent time and researched and found the graves of these people, telling them, you don't need to believe in Zeus. Zeus is dead. He's over here. You know, they did all of these things. While Christians, there was tons of proof of Jesus Christ. Like, here's his grave, and it's empty. You can't find him there because he's resurrected. And then you have all these eye account witnesses, and so forth and so on. You have people that didn't even believe in Jesus, even knew that he resurrected from the dead. So there's tons of proof. So and the Apostle Paul is talking about how there is the resurrection. It did take place. So therefore, we don't get to live the way that we want to. All right, we need to awake to righteousness. Verse 34, what we read, he says, awake to righteousness. Look at the verses before. 33, it says, be not deceived. Evil communication corrupt good manners. He's saying about if you're living in an evil way, it is going to corrupt your good. All right? It's going to corrupt your good thinking, your good manners, the good way of living. It will destroy those things. So, he said, do not be deceived. Awake to righteousness and sin not. And then this is his challenge to them. For some have not the knowledge of God. So here it is. We're talking about a first century church. All right? So these are like the first set of Christians in the world. The first century Christians. They don't have, their mom and dad wasn't Christians. All right? They were the first group of Christians. And the Apostle Paul is saying, like, there are people in Corinth that have not the knowledge of God. They don't know anything about God. And I speak this to your shame. He's saying it is your fault. He was telling the Corinth church, it is your fault that the people of Corinth do not have any knowledge of God. That they don't know about the saving gospel of Jesus Christ. It's their fault. And I was extremely convicted by this when I read it. You know what's amazing is how many times that we can read the Bible and it's always something new is always out there convicting. It was just one of those things that God just needed to prick my heart, do a little bit of pruning, right? Of this is here it is. I live in southern Indiana, New Albany, Indiana, and and I was out soul winning, and I came across someone that had no idea who Jesus Christ was. They kind of knew him as a historical figure, but they did not know that he was a God, that he was God, that he was the Son of God. They didn't know that he died on a cross. Like, I never ran into someone that didn't know this. And I had to start from the beginning. We're no longer living in a Christian nation. We are living in what they classify as a post-Christian nation. A lot of people are starting to not know anything about God. And my church has been in New Albany for 34 years. It's our fault that people in New Albany do not know, that don't have the knowledge of Jesus Christ, that don't have the knowledge of God. So my challenge is, while me and other missionaries are going to be in Suriname, unless one of you want to come to Suriname and get a monkey or a sloth or a macaw. You can get macaws. Those are like really giant blue parrots. Right? Anyway, all kinds of crazy other animals. World's largest tarantula. No, I'm kidding. Everybody decided they're not going to Suriname now. Anyway, while us other missionaries were there, hold the fort here. All right? People in your area don't know about Jesus Christ. They don't know the details of who he is. He's the Son of God that died for them so that they can have a relationship with the Father and be reconciled back to him so that they can be forever with God and have a home in heaven with him. And don't let it be your shame that people in your area don't know about Jesus Christ.